What is going on, Ravens flock? We are here live in the vault. Looking a little different today. No Bobby, no Sarah. Instead, you have Sam Njoku, who is the host of the Ravens Talk podcast and co-host of the Ravens Squad show at the Locked On Ravens podcast network. And of course, we have with us Super Bowl champion, most receiving yards in a single game, legendary Qadry Ismail joining us here at the vault. What a day it was last night for Ravens fans, and we didn't even play. There was no game played on Thursday Night Football. Instead, we have the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it couldn't have gone any better for Ravens fans. In fact, there was a bit of nostalgia if you're a Ravens fan in that contest. The Bengals get the job done. Crazy to say, but the slide might be coming down a little bit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Q, I'm sure you watched the game, or if not, you saw the highlights. What were your thoughts about that game?
Well, I tell you what, first, Sam, it is good to be on the VAULTRON, chilling out. And I tell you that, Sam, when it comes to the bar and the expectations of what we know to be true with what Bobby and Sarah has built here has been tremendous. So looking forward to having a great show with you. And yes, as we get right into it, when it comes to that Pittsburgh Bengals game, I'm just looking over here at the stats and wow, what a performance. What a performance by Joe Flacco. To say it is an understatement of how he has played as a 40-year-old, the consistency in which his and active, I mean, the tight spirals, the way in which he slung it in different, we call it, there are different levels of throws that a quarterback would make. And you have a 1 ball, 2 ball, 3 ball. I mean, he was doing it all, the touch, all of it. Even Aaron Rodgers, I mean, to be honest, Aaron was doing his thing too. I know he had those 2 turnovers to 1. DK Metcalf, I just didn't know if that was him not being able to be aggressive and fighting for it, or if it was just the DB, I believe number 20, just making an incredible interception. But, yeah, I mean, it was awesome. Both sides of the ball. The AFC North. Just when you thought it was safe to go out, they sit back and they come at you and they surprise you. So yeah. When your bye week is sitting here and you got to watch football, I'm glad that game started it off. And it also, I know we'll get into it, but it definitely makes you think long and hard as far as what the Ravens need to do to put themselves back into the conversation of this AFC North race.
Oh, man, couldn't agree with you even more. And again, thanks so much for Bobby and Sarah for giving us the opportunity. I know you guys here in the vault are used to seeing their faces. Hopefully you enjoy the show with us. They'll be back next week. Getting a little time off, enjoying, a little bit of time off during this bye. But yeah, there could not be a better outcome. First of all, fantastic game, no matter how you spin it. Fantastic game for viewers of the show, and for Ravens fans, of course, it's something that we will enjoy at least for a few days before we get started with the Bears. But yes, the Bengals take care of business against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joe Flacco, once again, hooking the Ravens up. He doesn't wear purple anymore, but it doesn't matter. Still gets the job done. We talk about what Joe Flacco had to do. I mean, 31 to 47 completion percentage, through the roof, 342 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. The boy's 40. I mean, he can still go. A lot of Ravens fans I know are enjoying seeing him play. I mean, we don't want to really root for the Bengals, but I mean, if there's any time to root for the Bengals, certainly against those Pittsburgh Steelers who still remain on top of the division right now. But that doesn't mean that the Ravens aren't going to get up there. As you mentioned, Q, things have changed a little bit now. I mean, we expected the Steelers to take a little bit of a dip, but we didn't expect it to happen against the Cincinnati Bengals. At least that wasn't the consensus heading into this matchup. Let's take a look at the schedule right now. Right now, the Ravens have that bye week, and then afterwards, Bears, Dolphins, Vikings, Browns again. How do you feel this is going to go? Do you see Any chance now that you've seen the Bengals kind of give us some, some leeway here? Any chance now for the Ravens to make a run here?
Well, like if we look at the schedule right now, you're talking about that Bears game that is just sitting there staring you in the face. And the Bears, they're on a what is it, a 3-game winning streak, I believe. I know they had the Commanders. That was their last game. And it's amazing to me how, any given Sunday, people label the NFL, and strength of schedule, who has it easier, who doesn't. And here the Bears, it seems like Ben Johnson has his team, just playing well. Like defensively, there's some hard hitting that's going on. Offensively, as far as their offensive line and what they did to the Commanders after getting the ball back, needing in bad weather to, run the football, they were able to bounce it to the outside, getting into field goal range, and obviously sealing the deal. I think that's something that for this Ravens ball club matchup wise, I'm really concerned about. The Dolphins game, I know that Anthony Weaver's their defensive coordinator. I know it'll be interesting to see what he has, what tricks up his sleeve he feels he has as far as, playing against Lamar. You obviously practice against him, but playing and practicing are two different things. And I'm curious the game plan of what would be going on with regards to Anthony Weaver. And, it's a short week. I believe that's the Thursday night game. So because of it being a Thursday night game, I think that's something where, John Harbaugh, how are you going to look at that week and the preparation phase of it? It took, technically favors the home team. So I know for the Dolphins and matchup wise, the Ravens defense versus the Dolphins offense, boy, they've in years past have had their troubles with the Mike McDaniel style of offense. But yeah, those two games are just staring right at me. You could look ahead. I'm nervous about that Vikings game because if you do get past the Bears and the Dolphins and get back some momentum to travel to Minnesota, that right there that's a tall task. And then you're talking about two games that should, on paper, be winnable. Should. The Jets are the Jets. They play you tough, but they shoot themselves in the foot. The Cleveland Browns, they got an amazing defense, but should. And so that first 5 games, like we're not even talking Bengals, Steelers, Bengals. Let's not even go there with that. We're just talking plain old Bears, Dolphins, Vikings, and then you got the two that are staring at you with the where you got, Cleveland and New York. So first 5 games, I think will either dictate getting you back into the conversation of being 500, or you're going to be saying, well, it was a good season, and now what is EDC? What is John Harbaugh? More importantly, what's Steve Shoddy going to be saying? Because if you think about it, put yourself in position in these next 5 weeks, bro. Like Steve Shoddy got to be saying, like, this was supposed to be Super Bowl or bust.
Exactly.
And if you don't have like these games locked in, then what does it matter for the remaining 6 games? Like that to me says it all. So, this bye. Watching last night's game, that was one of my observations. Was like, isn't it fun when you see, and it was both sides of the ball, where you see defensive lines, they know how to tackle. They know how to get after a quarterback, or at the same time, offensive lines. Both running backs had over 100 yards, respectively, on both Pittsburgh as well as The Bengals, Joe was slinging it around, getting rid of the football. So I know the Bengals offensive line looks just as bad as the guard play for the Ravens. But last night, shoot, I mean, he was like, all right. He, meaning, Zach Taylor, was like, listen, if I can get the ball out of my quarterback's hands, you can't hit him. And so just, hopefully Todd Monken was taking some notes. Like, get the ball out of your hands quick and let's eat. So yeah, Bears, Dolphins, man, star that game of going up to Minnesota. That's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah.
And then you just hold on to your hats because these are two winnable games with the Browns and the Jets. Whew.
Winnable is a key word. Winnable is a key word because, last year we had some winnable games against the Browns and Raiders and then didn't come through. Obviously, I think the temperament's a little higher here. The urgency, the sense of urgency to get the job done is a lot greater here. But, it's any given Sunday. I'm sure the Steelers thought they had that one in the bag with a 40-plus-year-old Joe Flacco. Not to be for the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's get to the super chats here. We have a super sticker here from Kevin Carver. Thank you so much for donating and being a part of this show.
Yeah,
Eileen Nolan says, thank you for filling in. You are awesome. Appreciate it. Q and I appreciate it for sure. We got one here from, I don't want to get the name wrong, but Asmodeus Tenatus. Bengals must be treated as a threat. They have a similar schedule to ours the rest of the year. Also, shout out, I watch y'all as much as I can. Appreciate you so much. Yeah, let's take a look at that Bengals schedule because you're right. The Bengals do have a softer schedule coming up here. They did just play the Steelers. They have the Jets and Bears, and then the Steelers again, followed by the Patriots, Ravens, Bills, Ravens, Dolphins, Cardinals, and Browns. A little tougher schedule, I would say, than the Ravens, but certainly from what we saw from Joe Flacco, I think they might have a shot to make some noise in this division. What about you, Q? What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting because this was a tone-setting game, I think, for the Bengals. The way they kind of put themselves in a hole, obviously with Joe Burrow going down and all the things, but to get that third win against a division opponent is huge. You look at the Jets, they're winless. Hopefully the Jets. So it's like you flip the script real quick. You be like, Bengals, bro, do your job. Okay, now that's enough. Moving on. and moving on means that we hoping the Jets they get their first victory against the Bengals. But yeah, November starts off with another bang again. Like you don't know what it looks like with this Bears ball club. Like I don't know if Ben Johnson has figured it out and his club is right at the ship or what. But you got the Steelers again, which you got to go to Pittsburgh. It'll be interesting to see what that looks like, and then I think with the Patriots I think are just a step above what the Bears look like. They can play some really good football with Drake May at the helm, but they get in their own way, turning the football over. I think that's been their kind of a Achilles heel. Like it's like they play good, and then all of a sudden you just look back and like, dang, like y'all just love turning the ball over. What's up with that? So yeah, I don't know. I think those are some interesting 4 weeks before it's the head-to-head matchup with Baltimore here on Thanksgiving. Yeah, Joe come up here with Cleveland, and you had obviously the Ravens are celebrating their what is it the 35th year or 30th year?
30th year, yeah.
30th year, okay. And I can count, but their 30th year. So with that 30th year celebration, you had a lot of Raven legends come back, and pregame they all went out and said what up to Joe. And I wonder, from a Bengals aspect and that game, he's circling that game and it's like, all right, is he gonna be welcome back again with such fanfare? I don't think so. I hope not. I'm like, man. And it's crazy too because this Bengals ball club with T. Higgins And obviously the way, Jamar Chase has just been a Ravens killer, like Joe, he has to be just drooling because one
Yeah.
of the things that I was looking at, the way he was feeding Jamar Chase, it was so reminiscent of when he and Anquan Bolden were on the same page.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Marlon Humphreys must be just sitting back like nervous as all get out.
Yep.
Because if there was ever, AJ Brown was a Raven killer, but you got to say Jamar Chase is like just right underneath him as far as with the Bengals and that that guy that's a Ravens killer over in Cincy. And the chemistry that Jamar has built like immediately with Joe. And you're talking about, at the end of November, who coming up in here. Goodness, I'm nervous. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
obviously with Wiggins, I think T. Higgins and Wiggins, that matchup, that's going to be an interesting one. So yeah, brother. I don't know. We
I
got
don't
we
know.
got we got some work cut out for us.
1000% we do. But I think that I don't know. The offensive line looked really good too. I think even with Jake Brown and the Bengals had a good time keeping him upright. And now you got Joe Flacco, who's not afraid to give it to Jamar Chase whenever. I think he had 16 catches, most ever for a receiver in a single game. Can you imagine if that trivia question comes up? Who's the quarterback that threw to Jamar Chase when he had the most receptions in the single game for the Cincinnati Bengals? Oh, the answer is Joe Flacco, which is mind-boggling. But Rafi makes a great point here. He says, Q and Sam, I checked out Joe's records versus Steelers. He was 12-13. I was wondering why Mike T was so annoyed with the Browns trading Joe to the Bengals. Joe helped his team out. Way to go, Joe. So a lot of Joe Flacco fans here today. Go to the super chat here. Brian says, Flacco covertly helped our Ravens. My birthday, 50th birthday today. Go Ravens. Happy Friday, Vault. Happy birthday, Brian. That's an awesome way to show
Word.
support. Yep, man. Joe Flacco's getting a lot of love here from Ravens fans. When we see the Browns, we're going to get Shadur, says Jaffrey Ra. I think that you might be right. We'll see. We can only take that much Dylan Gabriel for so long. It's going to be tough for
Well,
them.
I hope if we do see him, like, shoot, Mike Green and company better be on point because we haven't seen a pass rush, let alone pass rush pressure,
Yeah,
bruh. Do we even know what a TFL even means?
no, no, we don't.
My God, man. Like, TFL pressure, QB hits at least.
Yeah,
Something.
yeah.
Something.
We should get on that. But before we do touch on that, I do want to look at the current standings here as far as. Let's see if I can move this and here we go. Here are the current odds to win the division as of today. Steelers are still the favorites to win, but right behind the Steelers are the 1-5 Baltimore Ravens at plus 135, followed by the Cincinnati Bengals, who just beat the Steelers at top plus 525. They're currently 3-4, and then the Cleveland Browns at plus 4,000. So the Bengals did a good job. I think last time I saw this, the Browns were at plus 7,000. So kind of shrinking the games to go between the top and bottom gives these sort of odds. And very surprising that the Ravens, even though we see maybe a potential run coming for them, that they are still the number 2 and just by a little bit odds on favorite to win the division. Q, are you surprised by that?
Well, I'm not because, let's just be honest. That's the Lamar Jackson effect. He has had his hamstring issue that kept him out. And I know that Lions game, technically, let me even say this. And I think, Voltron, y'all go ahead and let us know your thoughts on it. But it was me, or did it seem like, Sam, the game against the Lions, but even going back, um, when you saw the dynamic running ability in the Bills game was awesome, but then that third down when Ed Oliver just was so elusive against our watered down, poorish offensive line play in the guard position, and he just
Yeah.
smacks the heck out of Lamar. It just seemed like he wasn't really the same. I know, like Cleveland, he was a little tentative, wasn't really like trying to kill it. Then you get to the Lions game and those sacks and stuff, and I was like, I get it, defenses are defenses, and I get it that but that's what makes Lamar so dang on dangerous. It's his killer instinct to like make you miss and to
Yeah.
extend plays, and it just didn't look that way. So by the time you see him in Kansas City, and I know Steve Spagnuolo, his defense feels pretty confident, and rightly so, that they kind of have the blueprint, I guess, to halt or slow down Lamar. But man, I just feel like if Lamar, from a offensive line protection aspect of things, and coming out of this bye, like healthy, like explosive. We're talking like two-way dominant, elite, you can't stop me type. Superman put on his cape, Lamar Jackson. Now you see why you still got that slim slither of hope to winning the division. But again, it's still a bye. So what's EDC doing? What is John doing when it comes to either upgrading / what are you seeing in practice to say, okay, said guards, okay, said D linemen, okay, practice squad dudes, and other dudes that think y'all want to play? Now is y'all time to step the beep up and let's go.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of beep Sarah would say to step the beep up, but I'm just gonna beep it and be like Sarah. Be like beep 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 beep. That's how just pissed John should be when he's saying somebody stepped the beep up when it comes to the guard play, because whatever they doing ain't it. Like Daniel falling, oh, look out. We be in practices, man. You be like, bruh, as a receiver, sometimes you be sitting there like, oh, coach, you want me to go in there and get that safety? And back in the day, like, man, like my shoulder just kind of got like one of those like old man, oh, my shoulder. Yeah, back when I was playing. Well, back in the day, Mark Carrier for the Bears, he's like, okay, we got to go hunt him out because we gonna run and be physical against the Bears. Oh, and you go up there, ha ha. You go to the sideline like, yeah, bro. By the time the fourth quarter come around, you're like, you be making business decisions. Well,
Yeah.
Daniel Falele, I'm like, bro, you be making too many business decisions to be like that. I mean, you're a big man. You are a large human being. Large. But at the same time, you in the NFL, you're supposed to be nimble.
Yeah.
I thought nimble and large went together when you a guard in the NFL.
Agreed.
Bro, nimble don't mean that your head is so large that you be woo and falling forward and rolling like roly poly oly. Like roly poly beeping oly. Roly poly. Rolling, roly poly. Look out, Lamar. Look out, Derek. Don't be saying King Henry. Man, you can't even call him King Henry. King
Yeah.
can't even get off the throne. The king be sitting back there like, yeah, bro, I'm about to do this. George Warhawk be on the sideline like, yeah, bro, we got the perfect blocking scheme. Ty Monk can be like, oh, yeah, I just did a Jedi mind trick. We're about to do this. And all of a sudden, Daniel gets to the line of scrimmage. And then all of a sudden, like, roly poly oly. I'm sorry.
Ooh.
I had to. Voltrons, I apologize. I'm ranting right now. I'm ranting.
Oh man.
I said it. I had to get off my chest. It's the bye week.
I know.
Woo!
Are we
Let me
going to
just
get
sit back a
more?
little bit. I got to sit back a little bit, just like
that fourth down call, I got some roly-poly
Oh my
type
gosh.
stuff.
Yes.
And don't get me started with freaking Voorhees. Like Voorhees in your vortex. Like that's like you sitting there, a black hole in it. Bruh. What are we doing? Voorhees. Like Warhawk literally was in the meeting, offensive meeting with Todd and them. Check this out. Goal line. We gonna give it to King Henry. But in the midst of giving it to him, we're gonna have a Voorhees pull. We'll pin his guy. We'll pull, kick out the guy that's on the end of the line of scrimmage. Pancake Pat, nurse your calf muscle because we still got Zaire, and Zaire is going to go ahead and just, freaking Voorhees and doggone Zaire. They both was like, I mean, Ed Oliver is going to be all pro after the Bills game against us. Doggone Versus is going to be, I don't even know if that's the whole fullness of his last name, but Versus, whatever. Homeboy's going to be all pro too. They both first team all pro after playing against the Ravens offensive line and what Zaire and them are trying to do. And King Henry's going to be sitting there talking about something, bro. I'm still up on my throne trying to go ahead and get to the line of scrimmage, but y'all can't block. I'm ranting again. Joe Flacco and doggone Jamar Chase. What the F. Scott Fitzgerald? Like, doggone, we got Isaiah Likely running wide open. And you can't even, like, you're supposed to be Cooper Rush. You're supposed to just be like the veteran quarterback that can read the defense. And Isaiah Likely is running down the field still wide open. He's at the freaking M&T Bank Stadium right now. Ain't nobody there. And he's still wide open. You can't get it to him.
Facts.
Sorry. Go ahead.
You got it all out, Q?
I'm good. Continue the show.
I'm sorry, man. You're absolutely right. Oh, man, that was the all-time rant. Voltrons, if you guys are not used to this, please be on our show. We always have Q going off in a tangent like this. But you're absolutely right. I mean, the guards have definitely failed this Ravens team. And it's Friday. It's 12:30 p.m. Eastern time on a Friday. You'd think between the end of that Rams game and today, there'd be some sort of movement, some sort of trade, something to go down to kind of shore up this team on the trenches, either on the offense or defense. At this point, I'll take something, but no Voorhees movement, no Faalele movement, no trades of any kind. I'm not sure what's going on. It appears as though we're going to enter this Bears game with the same linemen that we've had all season. That same lineman that got Lamar Jackson hurt in week 1, week 4, whenever you believe he was injured. It has been nonstop for this team. And I just don't know. You got to assume a trade is coming. You got to assume a trade is coming for this team, especially on the defensive side of the ball, where the Ravens currently have 3 outside linebackers and Mike Green, Calvin Oyd, who just got back from injury, and David Ojabo, who was inactive the entirety of last season. Now he's your third best option at pass rusher. The Ravens can't continue this season like this, but you made an interesting point earlier this week on our show about where you think the Ravens should prioritize their tracking for a trade on the offensive defensive side of the ball. You've made it very clear on your rant and, on the show earlier that you think that this should go on the offensive side of the ball first, get rid of those guards, at least shore it up a little bit. Is that still your thought process as we enter this end of bye week?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that when you look at the makeup of the team, as much as the history of this franchise has been defensive oriented, and believe you me, that jersey and behind me is as authentic as it gets. Got the grass stains of Raymond James Stadium still on it, and these programs behind me are definitely from my stool when we walked into the locker rooms of the respective stadiums, PSI Net. We went down to Tennessee, whooped up on them. We went to the Oakland Coliseum, and you talk about things being thrown from the stands. Mother of pearl, the Ryder Cup has nothing on what you saw at the Black Hole back then. And then obviously going down to Tampa. My point is saying is this: I know what defense looks like. I know it all time. The best all-time defense ever been known to man to play is a 2000 Ravens defense. So I get it. Ravens been built on defense. At the same time, this ain't it in the Lamar Jackson era. Lamar. Period. End of discussion. So you got to bolster up your strength and then, come along with some supporting strength on the other side of the football. A la Trent Dilfer. Okay? You get a little Trent Dilfer up in there and, Trent, bruh, don't do dumb things, okay? If you don't do dumb things, you got enough firepower around you, Trent. Don't do dumb things, okay? Now we gonna win. Now, at the same time, you got Lamar Jackson around you. Like, Lamar Jackson, bruh, you got Lamar. Don't do dumb stuff. Defense. Like, look at what a quarterback hit, a TFL, and a sack looks like. Look at what punching a ball out can do. Look at what literally a pass defense on third down can do, and let that punt team come out on the field and then allow LaJohntay Wilster to catch the ball and take it at least in some good field position because you got number 8. If you got number 8, you got yourself a legitimate opportunity to win games. Like, the facts are the facts are the facts. Therefore, to answer the question, you need to have an offensive line that can do some things for Lamar Jackson and for his skill people that are around him. Make that the priority. I don't know if it's Emory Jones on my shoulder, bruh. And y'all just straight up wanted to draft him just because y'all could be all cute with it. Like Emory. How do you feel, bro? We loved how you played. We're the Ravens. Don't you know who we are? We do clandestine stuff. No one knows. We know this. Come play for us. Oh, you have a shoulder? Don't worry. We're going to tell everybody you'll be okay. Yeah. You'll be back in a few weeks. Oh, you're not going to be back till week 18, 19, and 28,000th of the season? Yeah. We didn't think about that, but that's okay because now you're going to compete. And so what? This is pro football. We don't care if it's pro football. You're going to be okay. So I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's Bullock. If Corey Bullock can do it, and that's great. That's awesome. But we need somebody, EDC, John Harbaugh, somebody to go in there and at least push Daniel Falele, look out, and Voorhees into the vortex. Did you see him? No, I ain't see him. He's around there somewhere. I was going to block that guy, but I ain't see that guy. We need all that, okay? We need all of it, and we need to bolster up that offensive line. You do that, mother of pearl. Like, we're talking Lamar Jackson. Let's go.
Yep. I agree with you completely. You're getting a start here. Question here. If they granted you EDC seat before the deadline and told you to get over the hump with 5 moves, what moves would you make? Q, I'll put that question to you because I believe that's where he was headed with that. 5 moves?
No guards got to be 2 of them. 5 moves. What move would you make? Of course, I just said it. I'm looking at 2 of the 5 guard. The third move, certainly, I need a big boy that can stop the run because if you look at what has been happening with regards to the Bears and how they beat the Commanders, it was running the football. Obviously, if you're controlling the clock, that's going to be tough for the opposing team offense to get on the field. So I need a big D lineman, run stuffer. So I got all these picks, and I'm thinking I'm all cute as far as the future. Well, F. Scott Fitzgerald, the future. There you go, Sarah. That's one you can use. The F. Scott Fitzgerald one. There. So you can F. Scott Fitzgerald, the future, and go ahead and get Q Williams from the Jets, make a trade down, boom, now you cook it. Then you need to look at your, well, I don't know, your soft tissue team. Whoever does your soft tissue and helping you out, you need to look at what's going on with Broderick Washington. Oh, my eye, I'm hurt. Well, hopefully his body will get back and he'll be out there too. So somebody to pair him up. So now I need one other person. Well, that's a good one, because if we can get a rush in, and then basically, I'm drawing a blank as far as, maybe you guys can tell us, the Voltrons, as far as, that fifth and final move to see who we can bolster up. But Q, fellow Q, I appreciate you. No, Melvin, I get you, but it's like, who's out there? I mean, Matt Judon, as much as we keep saying Matt Judon's name, he's like, man, I'm coming back to Baltimore. Like, apparently they've been asking. He's been saying, no, I'm going elsewhere. So, yeah, I mean, the Titans, maybe you can trade for Zeitler. I know he ain't a pass rusher, but he's a bad man when it comes to blocking up front. And from a blocking aspect of things, like, yeah, that would be awesome. So, yeah, yeah, we got to do that.
What about so I do like Zeitler. I think that would be a good move. But do you think the Titans would be willing to get rid of a guard that's going to help protect their number 1 overall draft pick, Cam Ward, or do you think that they'd be willing to make a move for someone? In fact, the Ravens, do they have much in draft capital? I know we've heard words about Keaton Mitchell being a trade partner potentially, maybe even a Mark Andrews, who's in the last year of his deal. Could you see them parting ways with Kevin Zeitler?
I don't know. Interesting. It's interesting. I'm looking at the comments here, and it's weird because from a Bradley Chubb's aspect of things, I don't know if that would fit. I like his game, but it's almost similar. He just got more experience, obviously, than Mike Green. But yeah, that one there is a tough one.
Yeah, Mike McDonald's already gone on record, at least currently, and said that none of his players are tradable as of now. I mean, of course, that could change if they lose this week. But
yeah,
people are talking about Bradley Chubb being potentially available and others on that Dolphins roster. But yeah, I think the bad part for the Ravens are that, the trade deadline's not until November 4th, so it's still a couple of weeks away from that. Teams are still, just like the Ravens, they feel like they got a shot still, even though they're 1-5, 2-4. They saw the Bengals make it a season for them, even with Joe Flacco currently. So I'm not sure. I think I saw someone in the chat mention Kayvon Thibodeau. That's the guy that everybody's talking about. Better run defender than Odafe Owe, but I guess just as good of a pass rusher, in my opinion, than Odafe Owe. What are your thoughts about the trade? I don't know much. Kayvon's in New York, the Giants.
Yeah, so that's a tough one there, because right now I think Dayball, the weird thing with Dayball, once he made that move to go away from Russell Wilson,
yeah,
you go to Jackson Dart, you start Scatterbo, like, again, I'm happy for him because he's breaking all the mold of what I think a lot of GMs and scouts kind of pigeonhole guys and don't realize you got to be able to play football, and he's playing football. But I think for Jackson Dart, one of the things that if you do trade away Thibodeau, is that you're feeling like your season's over, whereas they're feeling like there's a revitalization, because ultimately, I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm not trying to get fired. And if I trade away, such a player, then so that's where maybe if it was one of those situations, Tez Gold Jacket Walker, homeboy, ain't about Adderall. Don't get me started when it comes to the nutrition piece of it all, because I'll go on another rant. So Adderall does nothing. It's all just that pharmaceutical $1 billion industry. You're getting caught up in the mindset. It's called about being enthusiastic about life. We're enthusiastic about life, and you have good nutrition, not that ultra processed food. Then all of a sudden you'll know why it's all about the gold jacket of life, not just having some monikers saying you're a gold jacket. Take that,
Ooh.
Voltron test. Oh yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. A lot
Anyway,
of
that being said, when it comes to it, bro, like I think Dabo. See, that's where I think a Zeitler trade would be a good opportunity to explore. Simmons is Simmons with the Titans as well, right?
yeah, but we're hearing that Simmons isn't up for trade, even though that would be my number one go to. Simmons, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but yeah, that's a tough. I mean, again, those are some talented guys on teams that I think, big picture wise, like for example, the Giants, like they're like, man, we still got a shot. You know, I think that's what they're looking at. If they feel like they got a shot, then you're kind of treading water.
Yeah, maybe that's why the Ravens are holding off on trading a guy right now, because they're going to wait another week. And a lot of teams are still feeling like, oh, we're only 4 games out of 500. Once these teams start to lose again, Dolphins, another Titans loss, maybe even, I'm not sure the Browns are going to do another trade in a division, give another bolster to a division rival a la Joe Flacco for a 5th rounder. But I think that once these teams start losing again, potentially there may be some trades on the horizon. There also could be no trades. What are your thoughts about the Ravens not making any moves, this time? And then go ahead and put the guys on the field against the Bears. Do you see them still winning that football game with Lamar Jackson? Or is it a case where they got to do something, they got to do something, they got to do something?
You just want me to go on a rant again about Falele. Ole. Nah, bro, we need to do something. This doesn't make sense. That's saying that the Lions game was an anomaly. That's saying that the way in which you did it against the Chiefs was by accident. Like, oh, no. They, we keep everything the same. It'll just magically fix itself. I don't understand the logic in just keeping it the same. Like that to me, no, I don't understand that. I don't understand. Like you think it was interesting, Sarah, before she went out to Utah and hung out with her fam, and hopefully she's having a great time and pronouncing my name. There's no H there, girl.
She says Ismail.
Be, like just nailing it. She goes, Qadry. Thank God she doesn't say Qadry. People in the chat, they bugging with the QU, but I'm okay. I'm okay with you saying it or typing it because that's your hands on the home row going QU. You don't know that. It's QA. See, it's Q, then the A. It's the ring finger A.
Name's
but
right
you
there
don't
on
know
the
about
screen.
that hands on the home row. Now y'all just be up in here with the thumbs. Well, the thumbs on the home row, homeboy, and be like QA, not the QU. But we digress. We're going on a little rant, Sarah. Bobby be killing it with Ismail. I mean, Bobby just be Bobby. Bobby be all over the freaking planet, though, with his dating life and adventures in, like, he'll be going over to Europe, then he'll go over to South Asia, then he'll be coming back up to the Canadian Baltics. Where the heck is the Canadian Baltics? I don't know. But anyway.
Living his best life.
Sarah, it's Ismail. You should practice that. Just have your kids say it. Kids, you'd be surprised how great, because they just hear it and they don't kind of ascribe to a certain way of pronunciation. And they have their hands on the home row and it's QA, not QU.
Loving these rants. Oh man. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit more about this Ravens team and, take the personnel out of it. Obviously, me and you agree with it. I think I saw another question from Quincy that wants me to
apologize. My apologies.
What happened?
Just the VAULTRONs, like their comments are hilarious.
Oh yeah, they're going crazy in the comments. I'm not gonna lie.
Let's say an eyeball of Taurus. I don't even know, bro. I'm gonna try, but I tried. Eye of something. Horus, Taurus. Q. Bobby be looking for that meatloaf all over. It's like trying to help him out.
She'd be like, listen, I know you're on this dating app. That meatloaf is a little too old for you. Oh, that
Oh
meatloaf
man.
is like not fully cooked. She doesn't have the maturity yet. And she'd be giving some great advice. But yeah, that meatloaf, bruh. You need some grass-fed meatloaf, homeboy.
I need to text
Just
Bobby after this if he's
organic.
watching this. This is hilarious. Oh man, yeah, Bobby's living his best life, man. He's in his 30s, he's trying to find the right one. And when I was this age, I was still single, and I get it. Bobby was looking for that meatloaf, but wind up with that crab loaf, says Elon Chase. That's crazy. You guys leave Bobby alone, man. He's out there living his best life. I'm sure he's gonna get it together. All right, let's focus in on the Ravens coaching staff before Bobby kills me. The Ravens still have a coaching decision to make, in my opinion. We kind of talked about it in the beginning of the show, but if this team is unable to string together some wins, I mean, John Harbaugh, love the guy, been here since 2008, got us a championship. It's been a few years, a little over a decade. Do you think that the drums are going to be louder for John Harbaugh before he's released if the Ravens were to lose against the Bears? Or do you see it getting subdued a little bit if the Ravens were to pick up the win against the Bears and do so in dominant fashion? I think a dominant win would do numbers for this team.
Well, no. I mean, I think in all fairness, this is the 18th year, and for John, it's about the Super Bowl. It's not even about the regular season. I think that's why people are so frustrated because you're 1-5 and you're supposed to have your best roster yet in the Lamar Jackson era. People talk about the 2012, but playoff victories since then have been slim and next to none. When it comes to advancing and getting to San Francisco, that's it. That's where I think just to get a dominant regular season victory, okay, let's string together some victories. Yeah, play some good football. Don't get it twisted. We want to get into the playoffs, but you also, John, know that it's not enough just to get into the playoffs. And it looking like it might be one of those wild card spots, which is fine. The road to the Super Bowl can go, through the wild card. Just ask the 2000 and 2012 teams. However, I don't think that's enough. I think that's where, just because John came out of the bye strong and okay, that's great, but we need more than that.
Do you see Steve Bisciotti making the change? We talk about this a lot on our show. I think Steve Bisciotti is just, he's the type of guy who wants that continuity. I think he deserves to at least give it a strong consideration. If the Ravens were to fall short of the Super Bowl, I've been in the mindset that it's Super Bowl or bust. You can disagree or agree with that if you want to. I'm just nervous if you're in the camp of John Harbaugh has to go and the onus goes to Steve Bisciotti to do it. Does he have what it takes to pull the trigger? Now, in 2007, I didn't think there was any way that the Ravens were going to get rid of Brian Billick. After that start, I think they went 5-11 that year before getting Joe Flacco. Do you see, knowing Steve Bisciotti the way you may know him, I mean, you've been a player, can you see this team getting rid of John Harbaugh at the end of the season?
It's interesting because I wonder, would it be a package getting rid of and then a complete reset? So the mantra has always been, we want consistency and we want continuity. Obviously, Eric DeCosta, there were a ton of guys on the Ozzie Newsome general manager staff that those guys literally became general managers elsewhere. And Eric stayed. And Eric eventually took over, and now you're seeing, Ozzie in an honorary role. Well, from an Eric aspect of things and a John Harbaugh aspect of things and a Steve Bisciotti organizational model, he doesn't want to be that organization or that owner that gets swayed by public perception and fandom getting pissed off all the time. I get it. At the same time, that's where I'm saying, is it a clean sweep? Because if you truly want to then reset the deck to have continuity again, do you reset the deck because of the fact that, yeah, John is the cook, but who was the person going out shopping? EDC. So if EDC was the one shopping, then do you reset the entire kitchen and say, here's what we're looking at with this organization moving forward, and going away from EDC and going away from John Harbaugh?
Yeah, and you really read my mind perfectly there, because I was going to say, we've talked a lot on this show about these players that have been unable to perform, and John Harbaugh ain't bringing those guys in. It's Eric DeCosta that's drafting these guys, signing these guys. Daniel Falele, Voorhees, Odafe Owe was a first-round draft pick. He didn't pan out. We brought in Calvin, he did pretty good this past season, but he did draft David Ajabo. It just seems like Eric DeCosta's been, deflecting a lot of the blame, not purposefully, but, we've been giving him the benefit of the doubt. But this is a two-packager right here. I mean, I don't think the Ravens would move past Eric DeCosta, at least not, after one season. But, I mean, he shares a lot of this blame as well. Maybe some stubbornness from John Harbaugh to continue to play these guys. But Eric DeCosta certainly shares some of this criticism.
Well, when you hear them talk, they do have that hold each other accountable conversation. So I guess when you say John Harbaugh being stubborn, okay, so I know you and Eric are even, neighbors and all that. I mean, I'd be like, yo, bruh, hey, Lacey, go bake those favorite cookies for John again. I'm going to walk over and say hello to him. Hey, John. What's up, bro? I got the dozen cookies again. Lacey made them. They're really good. Oh, wow. Like, this is so good. What John's wife's name again?
I can't recall.
Ingrid.
Okay,
It's Ingrid. Yeah. Ingrid, we got the cookies. Here, you put them in the refrigerator. We'll have them later with some milk. I'm going to go outside and talk to EDC because, we're dudes. We're brothers. Man, if I'm EDC, I'll be like, yo, bruh. Falele and Voorhees, I know they're my guys that I brought you, but bruh, we need change. We gotta have somebody different. Okay, go ahead and get your cookies. I'm gonna go back with Lacey because she made me an extra dozen, and I'll eat mine too. Okay, we never had this conversation. Okay, bye-bye.
Love it.
What are we doing?
Love it. I agree with you completely. It's as easy as that. I mean, we draft bad people all the time. We trade away bad players all the time. We just did that recently with Odafe. We're not calling him a bad player, but not the correct fit for this team, at least now, as it looks like he wasn't going to get a contract extension. Just move past these guys. Try something different. I don't know what I'll do. I certainly know what you'll do if Voorhees and Falele out there against the Bears. You're going to have another grand on your hands, but it's just no way Ravens fans can live with another game set with these two guards. They're just not getting it done. Here's Quan saying, will it take Lamar to become vocally frustrated to see a change from EDC or Steve? I'm sure that's in regards to John Harbaugh, not obviously changing Eric DeCosta or Steve Bisciotti as the owner.
Well, I think Lamar has power, period. The instant I remember one of the people in the building was talking about how they were muddling around. Season wasn't going well. Lamar's on the bench, and they had a marketing meeting to see how they need to sell tickets. and they were coming up with all these ideas and how to sell the empty seats that was there. And so Lamar comes in and just blows it up. Within 45 minutes, the game is sold out the next week. So the Lamar Jackson factor is exponential. Like, this organization runs through 8. That being said, I don't know the relationship or desire for power, in a sense of like, yeah, I'm tired of you type thing. I know there were like the talks of the different coordinators, like, you know, Lamar never really came out and said it. This is just from a speculative aspect of what I kind of heard. But, you know, whether it been, I don't know, Marty Morningwig, you know, just being, you know, kicked to the curb, obviously Greg Roman being kicked to the curb, all of that. But you know what? I don't know if Lamar wants to put all that on his plate. When it comes to the current day scenario, obviously, you know, there was Jair Alexander and, you know, his coming in, you know, there was a lot of love of Lamar appreciating, you know, them doing that. When it came to, you know, Hollywood Brown, when he first arrived, that was, you know, Lamar, kind of Florida guy pick. When you look at what you see with Zay Flowers, I just think bigger picture wise, there have been those pieces that Lamar has brought up to say, hey, you know what, we need to do something. But I don't know if it is him having a conversation with Steve. I think Steve more than anything, because again, I'm wondering that package deal with EDC and John. I'm curious, because the continuity is what Steve preaches. So I'm like, all right, well, they're a package deal. What does that look like? So I don't know.
I agree with you. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens during this off season, whatever happens at the end of the season. Last comment here, start from God King, Jaffe Rod. This is the 4th Super Bowl team that John Harbaugh has squandered. It's over. If Steve keeps him next year, we all should boycott. No Monken. Down, thumb towards the bottom. What are your thoughts about that? This might be John Harbaugh's 4th Super Bowl team that he's squandered. I think I count 2011 as one as well. In 2023 and 2024, this will be number 4.
Whew, yeah, boy. So you look at I guess looking at Andy Reid and company, I forget his general manager's name. Somebody in the vault can hook us up with who's the Kansas City Chiefs general manager. And the reason why I say that is because that's who you're going up against. That's your competition. That's your bar that you have to set, because as much as the Ravens have Lamar Jackson, I mean, you have the awesomeness that is Patrick Mahomes. So Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, you know, are going together, and you're seeing how, whether it been Lamar, whether it been Joe Burrow, whether it been Josh Allen, there you go. Okay. Thank you, Sebastian. So Veach and Reid versus EDC and Harbaugh. And yeah, they didn't squander their roster building, making process, and then winning it. Whereas you got to say EDC and John, you know, they've squandered their opportunities. You know, that's the reality of it all. Yeah, you've had it right in the grasp of your hands, and you let it slip away.
Very unfortunate. Last comment before we end the show. Harp said he couldn't work Keaton in because not good at special teams. They finally get him last week and has more special team snaps than running back snaps. WTH. Yeah, I don't know. John Harbaugh is just, he's very interesting. But yeah, you're absolutely right about that. He did have more special team snaps than running back snaps. He didn't even run the ball against the Rams, and who knows? That could have been.
Did he
The
have
difference.
I don't know if it was considered a run, but it was like a kind of jet sweep action. It
Ah,
was
yeah.
away from the tunnel, and it was down into the red zone where he was able to get his hands on the ball. You know what? And in all fairness to Monken slash Keaton Mitchell, and I think if you look at last year and what last year was about, you saw a team that was working at peak efficiency. And so remember the simple toss sweep for Derrick Henry to end the game against the Bengals?
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
he, screaming down the football field. Remember the off tackle, wide zone look that he took to the hizzy against the Bills? Remember the explosive runs against the Dallas Cowboys when they kind of needed to reassert themselves, and we saw that? Well, we weren't saying Keaton Mitchell back then, but we were also seeing some semblance of order with the offensive line. And McCary was being able to kind of quiet some of the mistakes, if you will, and Falelas, okay, look out. He certainly wasn't as bad. They were bad. It's just that there were some cover-ups at least, and we also had some good cover-ups when it came to Roger Rosengard. And I think that he's been kind of, and obviously Ronnie Stanley had a year of years to the point where they extended him this offseason, which was deserved based upon what we saw last year. So with that said, I think now the tough part is your offensive line really isn't balling the way it needs to ball. Therefore, it's like it doesn't matter. Everybody is saying, oh, Justice Hill, oh, gosh, what's going on? Oh, you know what? Derrick Henry, oh, what's going on? Oh, we need Keaton Mitchell. No, we need an offensive line. You need an offensive line to execute. Therefore, Seidler, go ahead, hook homeboy up and get him back in the fold. Get us somebody that is not Voorhees in the vortex of doom, and then go ahead and look out for Fale sitting there on the bench taking copious notes. Like, oh, that's how you're supposed to do. Oh, he wasn't roly-poly-oly on that blocking scheme. Oh, that's what we're saying. Appreciate you, Brian, with the missile training. Yes. But at the same time, that's something that, bigger picture wise, I would say Keaton Mitchell, explosive and all that, but you can't do nothing with Keaton if he can't get past the line of scrimmage, just like the other running backs in the fold. Did you
Absolutely.
have another super chat that came about?
No, that was it. That was last. I think I double clicked it by
Okay.
accident. Yeah, so we're good.
Cool. No worries.
Yep. That's
We
that is
know one thing. Bobby and Sarah, they don't mess around with their super chats,
yeah.
and we appreciate the super chats for sure. And all of really the Voltrons. I'm telling you, y'all. Let me say this. I'm gonna give y'all some love, and like when I be coming on and sitting back and looking outside of some dummies that be trolling for just no good reason who really make no sense and y'all just backwards. But at least you're Voltrons. But the majority, like 99.999% of y'all be bringing it. Like
Yeah.
y'all be bringing the funny, y'all be bringing the education, y'all be bringing the interaction between one another. And literally with Bobby and Sarah, like y'all be bringing it. And so I definitely appreciate it. I think Mark Ingram saying Mark Ingram is better than King Henry. It's interesting. I think that year was just an amazing year. And I believe Marshall Yonda was still on the squad.
Yes, he was.
I think. Yeah, okay. Marshall Yonda,
Mm-hmm.
Ring of Honor, potential Hall of Famer. Marshall Yonda, guard. All right, Marshall Yonda. He's texting us right now. He's saying, what the heck? I'm on my pig farm and we're pigging it. But right now, Daniel Falele needs to stay off whatever pig food that he is eating for his head going over his heels and roly-poly-oly. Okay? Yonda, gain back your weight, gain back your muscle, get your butt back out here.
because Mark Ingram was feasting. And King Henry can feast if he had you too. Marshall, just don't worry you.
Please, we need somebody. I mean, just get me a body that can actually play the position that he is assigned adequately. That would just be enough for us to get this Ravens offense going. And if the offense plays well, the defense, I'm sure, will follow suit. But that's going to do us for us here at the Vault. I want to again thanks so much to Bobby and Sarah for bringing us in to do this show. The VAULTRONs, as Q calls you guys. You guys are awesome. I saw the comments, read every single one. Couldn't get all of you guys on here, but glad that I got you guys on. One more. Kevin says, thanks for unloading, Q. Appreciate you, Kevin Carver, for being on the show. Another donation. Yeah, you guys are awesome. We will be back hopefully someday as guests, but you guys are going to get Bobby and Sarah back. The Vault, you guys are going to get the main attraction back here next week. But again, I appreciate you guys for joining the show anyway. That just shows the type of community you guys have built here. So I appreciate you guys so much for joining us here. And we'll see you guys later, but you guys will be seeing Bobby and Sarah on Monday.
Well, I will say this before